Hi all, Jin here, and first off I want to give a huge thanks to everyone for 2K subs. It's still insane to me and I've been wanting to do a special video for it when I had the time, but it's come a lot faster than I expected, which is wonderful really. So hopefully I can still have time to do it in the future. Secondly, I want to give a big shout out to Geoff, whose YouTube channel is GeoffPlaysGuitar, Geoff, a genius guitarist and musician whom I met through a mutual friend that you all probably know already, Risfoina. Geoff's been making amazing Final Fantasy covers lately on his YouTube channel, and the music you'll hear throughout this video are all made by him, including the battle theme for the Chaos fight, which was specifically made for this video. So a big thanks to Geoff, who I feel definitely deserves more recognition for his music. So I hope you all can go check out his channel in the description below and give him some much deserved subs. You will not be disappointed. Alright, now onto the reason you're all here, the how to play of one of, if not the most hyped character in the Chaos era. Our favorite character of all time, I'm sure, from that one game he was in, Keiss. I will go over his kit, EX Plus, and my thoughts and recommendations while taking him into the Chaos fight afterwards. As usual, in the pinned comment are timestamps for easy navigation, as well as a link to my full playlist for all the how to play vids I've done. If you're curious about how my pools went, I'll leave a link to my pool battle with Mark from the Crystal Chronicles podcast down below as well. Before covering Keiss though, let me go over my general thoughts on Zidane and his kit, who I have, but I will not be maxing out. Not because he's bad though, just he's not my priority and he's not one of my favorites. But he is overwhelmingly and unfairly, I might add, overshadowed by Keiss. I mean, it's fair, but he does come with a second rework and is actually not as bad as some of you may think, but rather quite good. Both his skills grant him the unique buff Thievery, which is a 50% attack and 90% max brave up to himself, while both applying the unique debuff Thief's Mark to all enemies, which is a 20% reduction in attack and max brave and allows him to hit weakness all the time. With Thievery, his skill 1 has 180% overflow and deals AoE brave damage with a single target HP attack, and grants him 40% speed and applies 40% speed down as well to all targets. His skill 2 has 2 brave gains and the 3 brave hits with 150% overflow and 50% splash, while granting him 45% defense up and applying 45% defense down to all enemies. His EX is slow but does launch the enemy and grants him 110% max brave up. At 03, he already gets a pretty great improvement where his EX ability hits harder and with more hits, 150% overflow, and 50% splash. And he does make non-targets launchable as well. He also gets Mug, one of the most interesting parts of his kit actually, which he gets after using his EX ability. His Brave attack changes to Mug until it's used, which is a Gravity 3 Brave HP attack that extends his buff by 1 turn and takes no turn count. And he keeps all the Brave he got as well, so essentially it's free damage that can Gravity Shave and have 100% Brave refund every time after his EX. At 2-3 he also starts nicely with his unique buff and his EX fully charged, and all enemies in every wave starting with his debuff, so he's hitting weakness right away. So pretty much he can start right out the gate with a launch and some splash damage and giving himself his large max Brave buff. But you will want to go 3-3 as is the trend nowadays since he gets his Brave++ and HP++. Which his HP++ actually extends his buffs by 1 turn as well, and the EX ability hits harder with 8 total hits now on the plus version, with 109% overflow and 70% splash. So again, Zidane is actually quite good. EX has great overflow and splash damage, launches the enemy while leaving non-targets launchable, meaning he's a decent partner with his bannermate Keiss as well. After the EX he has his Mug skill, which is excellent for shaving and is just free damage and retains the Brave as well. He also has a frame debuff, which allows him to always hit for weakness and can be stacked with other debuffers, and a pretty potent speed and defense down debuffs as well. And on top of all that, he has the best party aura World of Illusion weapon you can pick up that boosts party attack and max brave by 10%. If you build Zidane, I highly recommend picking up his World of Illusion weapon for just 10 weapon tokens, I believe. His issues would be that his launch on EX does not battery the party, and it's not that fast either, and he's also a speedy boy, so you do have to have a decent party around him to maximize his damage per turn. Ideally brave regen women, since he loves himself some ladies in the party. I don't blame him. So my thoughts on Zidane is this: he's better than most people give him credit for, and can be used for a decent while due to his utility. And if you are needing a launcher to pair with Keiss, well, he's right there on the banner with him, so you can pick him up on the way. I don't think you would regret 3-3ing him if you like him, is all I would say. I don't really like him though, so he's a skip for me. Sorry Zidane fans. Alright, onto the main prize, Keiss. So let's go over his base kit first. His skill 1, Selkie Throw, is a 4 brave HP attack with 130% overflow and 50% splash. It grants himself 50% attack up and the unique buff Selkie Soul for 6 turns, which is a party attack and max brave up 20% and party critical rate up of 100%. With Selkie Soul, he gets his Brave Plus, a 2 Brave hit that batteries the party by 10% max Brave, and an HP Plus that batteries the party by 10% max Brave first, followed by his Brave and HP attack. Also with Selkie Soul, during a launch, he gets completely different Brave and HP abilities. His Chase Brave attack during launch will reduce enemy Brave to 0 if they're not broken and battery the party by 40% max Brave. His Chase HP attack will battery the party by 20% max Brave prior to the HP attack. Both will inflict the target with the unique debuff Fitted Enfeeblement for 6 turns, which reduces defense by 20% and speed by 10%. His skill 2, Hero Support, extends the buff Selkie Soul by 1 turn and is a 6 Brave HP attack with 170% overflow that batteries the party by 40% HP damage dealt and allows Keiss to move behind a selected ally. The selected party member will then gain the unique buff Smash Support, which prevents the ally from getting broken, which if he does get quote-unquote broken, it will leave his Brave at 1 and allows them to initiate a launch with any attack they use. Keep in mind this buff cannot be extended, otherwise that would be insanely OP. His EX ability, Sky High, is a 6 AoE Brave split HP attack with 120% overflow that grants himself the unique buff At the Ready, which increases party damage dealt during chase by 20% and lowers enemy speed an additional 10% on top of his 10% debuff. His C65 and C70 recovers one use of his all-powerful skill 2 and increases party attack by 10% for 3 turns. His Bloom allows him to recover 2 additional uses for a total of 3 recoveries of his skill 2. So you'd be insane not to get this Bloom. Now onto his EX Plus. At 03, his EX ability hits harder, gains 150% overflow, and delays all targets by 1 turn. At 13, he gains 70% attack and 40% max Brave. At 2-3, he starts with all 3 of his buffs, and his EX ability can extend any buff on himself by 2 turns. At 3-3, he gets upgraded Brave and HP abilities for both his normal and his launch versions. His Brave Plus Plus batteries the party an additional 10% max Brave for a total of 20%. His HP Plus Plus batteries the party by an additional 10% of his max Brave as well for a total of 20%, prior to doing a now 2 Brave hit HP attack with 120% overflow. His Chase Brave Plus batteries an additional 20% max Brave for a total of 60, and his Chase HP Plus also batteries an additional 20% max Brave for a total of 40, with now 120% overflow across the entire party. And his EX ability is upgraded as well, as it hits harder with 210% overflow and is executed twice. So if it wasn't clear already how much you should invest, it's a definite 3-3. Just that's it. Get those upgraded HP attacks and have your EX hitting twice. And you also get the delay from 0-3 and the buff extension from 2-3, and you'd be able to start with his Chase HP damage up buff as well. From his Sphere, attack up 10% for 8 turns after joining a launch. Obviously great for him, it's probably the most fitting for him, but not necessarily great for all launchers since initiating the launch is different. As long as the launcher allows for non-target launches often, then it's not too bad since 8 turns is quite a long time. But it will take them longer to proc the Sphere the first time compared to Keiss, and then they may not always join the launch either sometimes. So pretty much the most ideal person for this is Keiss. Other A and D spheres that are good for him are ones that he can proc consistently that either boost his attack, Brave damage, or max Brave. For E spheres you can go for boosting attack and max Brave too, but again make sure he can proc them often since he only debuffs during chase. Otherwise you can give him more utility via additional debuffs, which even speed and defense down debuffs can be given to him to stack with his unique one, like Setzer Titus or Ultimecia. For arts, he's a party aura C50 guy like Alphino and many others, so definitely get 6-star of C50s first, which boosts party attack and max Brave by 5%. Then I'd be happy with either 108s or 330s as a secondary. I think a mix of 2 is the best since 108s help all his abilities, which have lots of Brave hits, hit harder, and then all his batteries are based off his max Brave, so I'm pretty darn close already. I use maybe about 200 iDoja tokens only, so it's pretty good. Of course I still have to have at least I think another 108 and another 330 with C50. So, how to play Keiss. Well, this is actually not that cut and dry since it really depends on who his teammates are. That being said, there are a few rules to keep in mind. Number 1, before using his skill 2 at all, know exactly which ally you are wanting to move behind and what skill you will use with that ally to start the launch. And so even though Keiss has battery party from his skill 2 already, you may still want that ally to have an HP dumping skill that also batteries the party if everyone isn't already at full Brave. Or that ally has a way to delay the enemy or enemies to get everybody involved in the launch. Or you want that smash support buff on an ally who counters and can set up more enemies for launches. These are just a few important examples, but the main point is plan ahead when using his skill 2 on who you will move behind and what skill they will be using to hopefully get the most damage possible out of it, and the most launches out of it as well. And then that leads me to number 2, try to do as many launches as possible with as many teammates involved in each launch as possible. Especially Keiss, since his HP plus batteries during launch. So if you're using Keiss's skill 2 on an ally who is a launcher, probably best not to use their launch skill. It might be tempting to use it if their launch skill also batteries, but it's kind of wasteful and you might want to use just one of their non-launching abilities or just choose the non-launcher as the ally to move behind. Using up a launch ability on an already guaranteed launch means you have one or more or less launches that you could have had. Number 3, don't forget that you can use Keiss to emergency shave on an enemy to 0 Brave during a launch with his Chase Brave Plus. Otherwise, primarily use his HP Plus in launches. Number 4, wait out launchable enemies until the time is right, where you can maximize damage by targeting the other enemies, assuming there are any, so that you don't waste that launch if that's like the only person that's going to be in that launch. Number 5, use his HP plus or skill 1 during times where there's not a good launch opportunity, and also use his skill 1 to upkeep his Selkie Soul buff. Both his skill 2 and EX extend his skill 1 buff, so there's not a big danger you will run out of it, but definitely keep in mind how many skill 1s you still need to upkeep it, since that gives his all-important upgraded Brave and HP attacks, and it's only 6 turns. And then of course just use his EX generally whenever it's ready, and that's about it. Alright, so on to what you can already assume is his giant list of pros. Let's start with the simple stuff first. He has 18 ability uses when accounting for his bloom, with a decent HP++ that batteries the party prior to his hits. 8 of those abilities are his ridiculous skill 2 that doesn't waste a turn of his important Selkie Soul buff, and with 3 of those skill 2 abilities being from his C65 in bloom, which increases party attack by 10%. The buff he gives from his skill 2 can be applied to counter or AoE units, who can then make the non-targets launchable as well if they hit them while the buff is on. His quote-unquote lesser skill 1 has a solid 10 uses and does 50% splash, and gives himself that important self buff, so you have plenty of skill uses to rebuff himself, and his skill 2 and EX extend that buff as well. He can slot with many team members since he only really has 2 unique buffs, and his 1 generic self-attack buff can be replaced by other supports. But his party auras are still crazy for a non-support. 50% attack, 70% max brave, 100% critical rate, which shouldn't be overlooked at all, but sometimes it is because he has that also 30% chase damage up amount. It's just to give you some perspective, Charlotte's HP damage up buff is 20%, which is already amazing. Of course that's across any damage, but still. And you combine that to chase damage with Pandemonium summons 30% HP damage up when including the board passive as well. Then you got yourself 60% extra HP damage up done during launches. And not only that, his HP plus batteries the entire party with overflow, including himself, prior to the HP dump during launch, which is why you hella want to run him with another launcher to fully utilize this bustedness. A team of the likes of Keiss, Fujin, and Charlotte should be illegal. Everyone is battering each other while having a launch bonanza that does 80% extra HP damage. So busted. More on Fujin synergy later, but I'm not done with his pros yet. His speed and defense down debuff, his unique one, his EX, which hits pretty damn hard, also extends any buff he has by 2 turns, and delays all targets by 1 turn to possibly set up even better launches. And aside from both his Chase HP Plus and Brave Plus battering in a launch, as well as his normal Brave Plus and HP Plus battering the party also, his Chase Brave Plus during launch also is essentially a 100% gravity shave, as it just sets an enemy Brave to 0, so you can set up a launch to have an emergency shave as well, as if you needed any more utility. Gosh, what can't this guy do? Well, he can't heal, I guess. But that means I should talk about his cons now. He does have a slowish EX charge that is his only AoE Brave shaving capability. His ability to be part of launches is limited to just his 8 uses of skill 2, including his C65 in bloom. So if no one is bringing additional launchers on the team, he's not that amazing. If an enemy resists or absorbs wind, I would still bring Pandemonium summon, but then your time during the summon would be not ideal, of course. He's also pretty awful if the enemy is unlaunchable. That's probably about it. Pretty much if he can launch people and he's with another launcher, he can do some serious damage. So my final thoughts on Keiss, he's hyped for a reason. Since when used in the right team comp and played correctly, the amount of damage that can be done in launches throughout the course of a fight is insane. And the way his kit is built, it's not hard to set up some of these crazy launches. That being said, you will be required to do proper team building, which will ideally include another launcher. And you'll have to do the actual setting up of these launches, so he's not exactly a plug and play character per se. So a new player to this game cannot just pull Keiss and press the win now button. But that's what this video is for, to hopefully show how to maximize his busted potential. Other good launchers to pair him with currently would include his bannermate Zidane, his partner Leo, Dark Knight Cecil, and last but not least Fujin. And as strong launchers come out, that just means Keiss will keep staying viable. The next one being Noctuart with his LD and BT, which Noctuart isn't even bad right now either. then Cloud with his LD and BT, and then there's also Dark Knight Cecil with his LD, and then now Ramza with his LD and BT, etc. He's just like a Lufania version of a Launcher's Charlotta, where he's still viable without LD, just like she's been viable without an EX Plus all this time. And oh boy, when she gets her EX Plus and you just pair her with Fujin and Keiss, good god. And speaking of these good pairings, before we move on to the Chaos fight, let me explain to you why he's so good with Fujin, which I touched upon briefly in her How to Play video. Number 1, everyone will be hitting weakness and have win synergy with Pandemonium. Number 2, she has the ability to battery on her launching EX, and her HP Plus batteries 50% HP damage dealt also. Number 3 is 20% speed downs complement her party 30% speed up, and if you gave Fujin her own E-Sphere, that's an additional 10% speed down as well. So essentially that's 30% speed up for your party and 30% speed down on enemies. And that's hella good for having better chances to get all your party members involved in normal launches. Fujin's high turn rate on skill 1 into EX can be used quite nicely as well. Number 4, Fujin's counter debuff will not only keep her topped off with Brave for launches, but allow for faster natural launches, keeps non-targeted enemies constantly launchable after her EX, as well as set up other enemies for launch if she does have the smash support buff and counters. Fujin also has her AoE delays from her AA for a big damage setup as well. Number 5, her party auras and his party auras combined are pretty ridiculous. 100% attack, 120% max brave, she gives 40% eye brave up and brave regen, he gives 100% critical rate up and 30% chase HP damage up. She enchants the imperils, he adds on top of that defense down, and that's completely ignoring anything a third party member might bring. So that duo is pretty busted together. The only thing they're missing is healing, which you could technically also give Fujin Rosa's healing C-Sphere. When you use the two together, you'll see what I mean. I hope that satisfies those I ended up convincing to pull for Fujin from my How to Play video. And for those who haven't yet pulled, her banner isn't gone yet, so if you want to check out my other video and you have the itch to pull for Fujin, then I don't think you'll regret it. And then time for me to show you this tandem showcase as well in the Chaos. I do have my full character boards on Keiss. I'm also going to bring Rem just for kicks, set up the perfect launches. And plus she also batteries on her HP Plus, she does AoE damage on her EX, so we can give this a whirl and have some fun. We'll bring Vayne Novus' Keiss here, Vayne Novus of Toneberry Troop fame, for even more launches. But actually, before I begin the Chaos fight, I wanted to give another shout out to Jeff, whose music you've been listening to all this time underneath my sultry voice. His channel is in the description again, and he has specifically made the upcoming battle theme you're about to hear for this video, so let's listen to this bad boy while we do some launching. And we're just gonna go ahead and start with the skill 1. See that splash? We're just gonna get everybody set up first before we start launching. Get the imperil down. And let's go ahead and bring her back up. Get a speed ups up. Oh my gosh. That is no problem. Let's get our cure buff up. And let's start getting our EX up as well. I should go ahead and shave him. And let's go ahead and go behind Rem. No, we don't want to attack him. We want everyone to stay the same. So we'll attack B, go behind Rem. You can see everyone's already has tons of Brave, so this is gonna be beautiful. Wow, look at my HP. Let's go ahead and we'll launch him first. Yeah, we can watch him. Look at that, 99k, 90k, almost 300k, just from one launch there. That's a wee bit insane. Let's go ahead and shave him. And we can get Keiss in this launch, so might as well. And we're just gonna do the same business here. We're going to yeah, let's go ahead and use the EX and get the launch damage on him. It delays everybody, you'll get rem, should get rem into the launch as well. Yep. Beautiful. 224k damage, that's just on the A, and then that doesn't include the B's either. And we'll just go ahead and EX here. Counter, I love the counter. Keep him in check. And let's go ahead and shave them together. And why don't we just go ahead and launch one more time. We'll take this guy out. Go behind Rem. Ooh, I kinda wasted her free ability. It's okay. This is like almost 300k damage each launch. It's kind of insane. It's a little bit insane. Let's take out the guy with the all attack. Yep, let's take the instant turn. Up, they're dead anyways. And I'm gonna have my EX up soon. Let's just go ahead and use a skill 1. So let's start replenishing my skill 2s. And let's go ahead and bring him up to use EX. Ooh. This is beautiful. Everyone's involved in the launch. Too bad Keiss is the last one, which is not a big deal. He can battery them. And let's bring in back Fujin to get everybody in the launch again. Let's go apply the debuff down. And now he can battery with his Brave Plus. Boom, look at all that battery. Jesus Christ. Yeah, let's just EX. And we can battery Rem here with his HP plus. Let's just see that in action. Oh, it's a miss anyways. I love the counters. I love her counters. I don't want to jump in front of Keiss. Or maybe I do. Get my EX up maybe. Yeah, let's go ahead. It might not be up in time, but it's okay. Wow, they're missing a storm. Actually, let's go ahead and yeah. I guess I could bring Keiss up. Yep. And then he can go ahead and go behind Rem again. These are insane. It's just like unfair. This dude is too busted. And let's go ahead and just use our skill 1. And this is beautiful. I'm just going to summon. Yep. Get a bunch of battery here. Keiss is gonna battery the rest. Oh boy. Oh boy. 360k. Oh boy. And then we're just gonna EX on this dude. Oh boy. Oh boy. So juicy. And that you can even bring a Keiss friend in, and that's just so insane. Do I want to jump ahead? I don't. Why don't we just bring a Keiss friend? How about that? This is just gonna be insane. Let's go behind. Rem. Yeah, this is insane. Double battery. Rem has 73k there now. And yeah, just do it again. Let's go behind numero uno. And let's go ahead with our splash damage. What is happening? This is just too ridiculous. Too ridiculous. HP attack. And I can just keep bringing my own guy up to involve the other guy into launches as well. Let's go ahead and get that up. I don't even care to use Rem's EX. Like, why? Why would I need to? Let's go behind Rem. Okay, I can do it here. Boom. Boom. And she can also, she made the other one launchable now too. This is so unfair. I feel so bad. Not that bad, but I do feel a little bit bad. Look at that battery. From nothing, he went to 22k. I feel bad. Forgive me, I have sinned. I have butchered these thingamajiggies. I was supposed to show together with Fujin. I should have switched Rem out so that Fujin can have a little bit of fun. But it's okay. It's the Keiss show today. It's the Keiss show. Fujin, hey, welcome back. You can get the final blow. That's ridiculous. I don't even know what to say. I can showcase that well Fujin and Keiss combo. You can kind of see it, but he's too ridiculous in his synergy battle here that we're just gonna have to show that another time. I think he's too ridiculous at this current level of chaos that it will take some time to actually really need to play him well, but you can see like the turn manipulation. Just try to get 3 people in launch every single time and try to get Keiss as the person to be before the others, the last person ideally, but it didn't matter too much. And you want to make sure that you have good launches on the non-targets afterwards, because you could plan for the initial target launch and then afterwards you know that there's going to be a non-target launch as well with Fujin. especially, and then Rem can bring out people. Obviously you don't need Rem, but it's just all about planning ahead your moves so that you can get the most ridiculous launches possible. He has his own sphere. I'm loving his art so far. Just need another 108 C50 probably, and then I'll consider myself good. Wouldn't mind another 330 C50 either. She has her own sphere. They were helping. The speed down, you can definitely see that the enemies were just not getting turns. Even with our turn manipulation, they were just hanging back forever. This is a pretty perfect team. Well, there you have it. I do hope that you learned something. I mean, obviously people know he's busted, but you can see how busted he can be. And if you see like a different play, sometimes he won't look as busted. But that's pretty much it. And thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.
You'll be my living legacy.